Hi, and welcome to part 2 of the Perfecta Q36 training. If you hadn't had an opportunity yet to view part 1, you may want to go back and do that. That includes the assembly, the initial setup and initialization of the printer, how to connect the printer to your design center, and how to maintain your printer. So again, you can head to the VariQuest Resource Center at resources.variquest.com. Go to the Perfecta Q36 training section, and you'll find that video again that goes over the initial setup steps. This video is going to focus on some of the key features of the Perfecta Q36 printer. Our scan to print feature, printing from the USB port right directly from the printer, and mobile printing. So first we're going to talk about the scan to print, since that is one of the most popular features of the Q36 printer. On the top of the printer, you'll notice this panel. It's a 36-inch wide panel. That is a built-in scanner that you can scan large documents to much smaller sizes, or you can scan smaller sizes to a larger poster or banner. And depending on what size media you have loaded into the printer, it takes again 36-inch rolls and 24-inch rolls. When you're using the scan to print, it'll automatically scale to the width of that roll that has been installed. Some of the great applications for scan to print is if I have an anchor chart or a graphic organizer that I want to enlarge and put in front of my students in the classroom and work as a group activity, I can go ahead and take that worksheet. I can insert it into the Q36, scan it in, and it'll output into a poster size. And there's a couple different ways to do that I'll show you. Another application is if I want to go big to small. So say that you had a graphic organizer that your students were working on in their cooperative groups, and you wanted to make a take-home study guide from that. You can take that filled-in graphic organizer, you can scan it in the 36-inch wide scanner, and then you can output it to the multi-sheet tray located at the back of the printer, either to an 8.5 by 11 or a 13 by 19 size. Again, great way to have take-home study guides, or maybe to take a student artwork that is larger that they've created, scan it in and make a smaller copy of it to be able to share with parents and with other students. So again, you can, with the 36-inch built-in scanner, you can scan something small to something large, or you can start with something small and enlarge it. All right, so the first one that we're going to talk about, and again, the onboard instructions for scan to print are nicely built right here on the front of the printer. So it gives you the 5 easy steps in order to do that. The first thing we're going to start with is you do get different size options depending on how you scan. So if I scan my original portrait style into the printer, it is going to give me a large standard size poster. If I'm using a 36-inch wide roll, the output will be approximately 36 inches by 48. Now, if I don't want something that large, I can simply rotate my original to the landscape position, and then I can scan it in that way, and that's going to give me a 36 by 28-inch poster. It's going to give that more medium-sized poster. So I have 2 different size options of my final output, depending on if I load it into the scanner portrait or landscape. And that's the same with both 36-inch media and 24-inch media. And there's a little guide right here that'll show you how to do that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to align our document in the center of the printer to prepare it for scanning. You'll notice the center by a large orange arrow. Now it doesn't have to be exactly in the center, but you want to get it pretty close. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. We're going to feed it in until we hear it catch. And you can see it pulled it in a little bit. And now what the printer wants me to do is send it to print. So we have to zoom in the camera into the control panel, and I'll show you the settings that it takes to get this again to scan and print. All right, so we've set our document into the center of the printer. It fed in, and now it's asking What do you want to do with that? So we're going to go to the copy feature. And when we get to this screen, we have a couple options. We can print to the tray, which means if we had media loaded in our back tray, either that 8.5 by 11 or that 13 by 19 size I mentioned, then it will take my scanned image, it'll scan it, and it'll print it to the media that's loaded in the back tray. For today's demo, we are going to go ahead and we're going to print it to the roll. So again, I have a 36-inch wide roll of paper loaded. We are going to take our 8.5 by 11 that's inserted in the scanner, and we're going to print to the roll. At this point, I can choose how many copies I want. So if I wanted to make multiple copies, I can increase that, or I can simply hit the print button. Once I hit the print button, the 8.5 by 11 is being scanned into the printer. And then once it's complete scanning, it'll come out and you'll notice an eject button. So I'll go ahead and I'll eject the original, and then the print begins printing. Now you may notice the two refeed clips that are on the front of the printer. Those are real handy for when you're scanning a large document so that it doesn't refeed itself in when it goes through the scanning process. So you'll want to make sure during assembly that you've attached those. And again, those are referenced in the assembly guide and the assembly video. So as you can see now, it has started its copying, but it's actually printing right now. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that just to save some time. So I've canceled it. It's going to shear off the part of the image that printed, and now I'm set up and ready to print the next poster. So again, our scan to print feature is super popular with our customers in ways that they can take something that they may not have digitally or electronically, and they can enlarge it and post it anywhere in the classroom, the hallway, in and around the school building. As I mentioned, you can also scan it and save it to your USB file. So if you want to have copies of that in the student's notebook or LMS, then you have that in a digital format as well. So that scanner just comes in so handy in schools to have something that large to be able to scan with. The next feature that we're going to talk about is how to print from a USB. So to do that, we're going to hit our home button. We're going to go back to our main screen. And we're going to go ahead. I have on my USB file, my USB drive here, I have some files. When I print directly from a USB, the supported file types are JPEG, TIFF, and PDF files. So I have some of those files loaded on my USB. So I insert that right into the USB connector here. And now I'm going to go over to the print button. And then you'll notice my option is to print from the USB, which I'm going to select. And then what it's doing, what you see here are all of the files that I have on my USB. So I'm going to simply scroll down to find the file I'd like to print. And again, it takes TIFF, JPEG, and PDF. I'm going to select the file that I want to print, and then I'm going to select print. And again, now it's printing that PDF directly from my USB to the roll. So again, for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and cancel. And again, that's a great feature when you have a file that you've created maybe outside of the Design Center software. You can either bring it into a USB and print it directly from the printer. You can also take a PDF file and import it directly into our Design Center software. And if you go over to the Resource Center, again, that's resources.variquest.com, and you go under Design Center Software, there's a video that will show you how to import a PDF file into the software for easy printing. All right, so we went through a couple of the most popular ways to print from the Perfecta Q36. We reviewed scan to print, and we also reviewed printing from the USB directly on the printer. Another very popular method for printing to the Perfecta Q36 is with a mobile device. So we'll quickly go through the setups that you can connect your mobile device directly to the printer, or you can also go through the school's network. So two different ways to connect through mobile printing. The first one we'll cover is Wi-Fi Direct. So Wi-Fi Direct is going to be very similar to how we set up the Design Center in part one video, where we set the Wi-Fi Direct password and connected it directly to the Design Center. It's very similar with a mobile device. So you'll go into your mobile device's settings, pull up the Wi-Fi, and you're going to look for the printer, the HP DesignJet T850, the same name that you found under the info selection when you went into Wi-Fi Direct. Once you find that, you're going to go ahead and select that and enter in the printer's password that we found on the panel. Again, you can refer to part one's video for connecting to Wi-Fi Direct. So now that we've connected our mobile device to Wi-Fi Direct, now we're going to go into our device and we're going to go and pull up the document or the photo or whatever it is we'd like to print. Select the share button, the square box with the arrow up. So once you hit the share button, scroll down until you see the print button, select print, and then you're going to pull up the print screen where you'll select the printer again, matching the printer's name to your mobile device. You can choose the quantity, you can choose whether you want it to print in black and white or color, and then you would go ahead and select print. The other way you can print from a mobile device is to be on the same network. So if you have your printer connected via the school's network, you would connect your mobile device to that same network, and then you would follow those steps as well. All of that detail is in the Quick Start Guide, which again will walk you through step by step both ways to print using your mobile device. The step-by-step guide or the Quick Start Guide also includes the helpful setup tips for the scan to print as well as printing from the USB on the printer panel. So again, this is a great handy resource to keep next to your printer. Of course, you can always go out to resources.variquest.com, and on the VariQuest Resource Center, we have additional documentation and training videos for using your Perfecta Q36. There's also training videos on using your VariQuest Design Center and your software and all of the thousands of educationally aligned template and content that's embedded within that software. If all of that fails and you need help, we're right here to help you. Contact Varitronics Technical Support at 1-800-328-0585, option 3. Again, that's 1-800-328-0585, option 3. Thank you so much and have fun using your Perfecta Q36.